All right, let's take a look at screw type terminals. Most commonly, you're going to be dealing with this on trailer connectors, but you can find these terminals used in other locations to connect usually aftermarket or third-party components. So today we're going to take a look at the red terminal just because I have red wire here. And this is what it normally would look like. We'd put that Phillips head screw into that terminal. It's just a little machine screw and it would squeeze the wire. So you can do these as simple as simply strip the wire, insert it in the hole, and run the screw down. What I find this does is it does bite at the wire, but sometimes you can find that the wire ends up being squished around the screw depending on the quality of your screw terminal and just really how good the screw is. Sometimes they're pretty soft screws and the wire seems to pull away. Now this is going to hold up a 10-pound pull test, no problem. So as long as you're going to screw them in tight and then give a tug test, that would work just fine. To help them stay, so if you're noticing that for some reason they're pulling free, to help your screw terminals stay in place, a thing you can do is tin the wire first. So I find this helpful also if you can't quite find the right connector and you're dealing with like really small gauge wire, then you can tin it first, and then when you crimp it, then it'll hold up and bite better. So we're going to put the soldering iron on, get it warmed up, same as we did with the solder connection. This is that M12 Milwaukee soldering iron, works really well. And to tin our wire, all we're going to do is simply put a little bit of a puddle on the end of this flat blade end of the soldering iron. And we are simply going to get it to wick up the wire, but we don't want to go too far because we don't want to make the whole wire brittle. So we can see it just starting to melt. There we go. And now once it conducts that heat into the wire, we will see it go in and we're good to go. That's all we need. So you can do this rather quickly. I mean, run all 7 of your trailer wires, have all your ends ready to go, and then solder them all, tin them all at the same time or all one after another to make it go faster. We're just going to pull that screw terminal back out again so we can see what it looks like when that screw terminal bites in. It does squish, and what it can do is actually work harden these strands. It seems to make them a little bit brittle and then they break away. So using this tinned version instead makes this flexible multi-strand wire act a little bit more like a solid core wire, which makes it easier to bite into with these screw terminals. So now we can screw this in. And again, not a lot of effort on the screws needed. And now we cannot pull that connector. It would easily hold up a 10-pound test. And because that wire is now solid, a little less likely to get rusted or oxidized because these 7-pin connectors are notorious for that. And we'll pull this back out and see what it looks like. So after we pulled it out, we can see it held its shape and all it did was indent into the solder. And so because you got that step there where the solder's been indented, it is less likely to pull. And so while it takes a couple seconds longer to get your soldering iron and to tin the wires before you put them in, they will be a better, longer lasting service connector when using screw type terminals.